I wanted to start off with one thing, and I think it ties into what we were all just talking about. Remember, Jack, when I heard you suggest that people should confront individuals who they believe to be misusing blue zone parking in the context of an enforcement discussion. And I wanted to give you the example of my dad. My dad has a serious brain injury. You see him coming out of a car in a blue zone, you're not going to know. He's not visible. And a lot of people with disabilities, like people with mental illnesses, for instance, aren't. So I really don't think that encouraging personal confrontation is a solution to enforcement issues.
Agreed. Hear, hear.
But that said, to get to a totally different issue, what I wanted to kind of broach here, because I'm hearing the things you hear everywhere. I do a lot of stuff with mental health. You hear it everywhere. Everyone seems to agree that there have to be lots of improvements. No politician is going to say that there shouldn't be. Everyone seems to be, reading from the same book, working from the same acts and so forth. But as been pointed out, some of these subjects have been going on for 30 years. I heard someone sitting next to me say some of these issues have been ongoing for 12 years. We have years and years and years and years and years of the same subject surfacing over and over and over again. And we keep coming back to meetings like this and it doesn't happen. And we wonder why. And what I'm going to suggest is that perhaps the reason that it's not happening is because this is a structural symptom of how government works when you have a minority group trying to get ahead, having to interact with something like the House of Assembly, which is always going to have other, in quote, priorities arise, which push them aside structurally. So the question I have for you is what would you do in terms of inside reformation of government to ensure that the momentum to protect minority groups persists inside of the House, rather than depending on all of the advocates and independent citizens and volunteers who come to places like this after they work all day to keep telling you over and over again for 30 years what your job is.
Right.
So this time I've got Paul Lane, then Clive Jackman, then Earl McCurdy.
Some of those in that property should be shut down.
Thank you for the question. I guess, the quick answer would be that you elect people to serve you in government, and you bring your issues to those people, to that government, and government either acts or they don't. And if government don't act, if they make promises, they don't keep promises. If they say they're going to act and they don't act, well then of course you have the democratic right to show them the door in 4 years' time. But that being said, I think it's important that we have advocacy groups, and bringing groups together like this, not just COD-NL, but the coalition of various groups of people with like-minded ideas and like-minded causes to come together to lobby. You can definitely have a powerful influence, and we've seen it with the group that you have on the issues around mental health, and I think that you've really brought it to the forefront. It's gotten a lot of attention. I think you've seen a lot of action, quite frankly, as a result of your efforts. So, never underestimate, what a group of people can do when they get together and they keep an issue at the forefront. But I can only say to you that, we have made a number of commitments. We've certainly made commitments around, the group that you represent around issues around mental health. And the construction of the Waterford Hospital beginning in 2017, and a comprehensive strategy on mental health, and we're committed to doing it. If we don't do it, then we expect you to hold us to account, make a lot of noise, and give us the boot next time around. That's just how the democratic process works.
Thank you. Yes, you, Clive Jackman.
Yeah, thank you very much. I guess what people will have to do is, judge us whether we've done enough or not. One of the things that I've seen, I served for a while in the Department of Health, and one of the things that I saw is that some areas of that particular department didn't receive the attention that it probably should have because of the demands on the department, being healthcare, immediate action, those types of things. Whether people agree with it or not, in 2009 we made a move to establish the Disabilities Policy Office so that we place a very much focused effort on that. Just let me tell you one example that recently I got involved in. The election, the provincial election is coming up. So it is quite amazing that in this day and age we'd have to sit with Elections Newfoundland and Labrador and establish means by which we can improve the lot of people with disabilities who are going to the voting booth. We've had about 14 or 15 meetings with Elections Newfoundland and Labrador and with returning officers to outline what we expect in this upcoming election. Now, that was coordinated through the Office of Persons with Disabilities. So as we continue, and I hope whichever government gets in, will maintain that office and continue to strengthen it. Because it's through that means, then you've got the ear of some of people within government. You've got a minister who is responsible specifically for that office, and you are the advocate within government, and working jointly with the partner community, then we look to making differences.
Thank you. Earl McCurdy?
Yeah, I think that, well, first of all, I believe we have a kind of demoralized public service at the moment in the province. I think what they are looking for and what they need is clear direction from the top of the house. I think we need better coordination and cooperation across departmental lines at the operational level. What best I could understand from observing what's going on in Federation Building is that it tends to be only at kind of highest levels in the department with busy people who aren't dealing with the everyday details. I think that there has to be clear direction that these kinds of things are expected of people who work that proper approach to dealing with the issues of persons with disabilities and treating them with respect is something that's expected of people who work for the government in the province. And that just tweeting from time to time is probably okay, but it's certainly insufficient. And that we need clear direction and a clear message to the people who work for our government as to what the values of that government and what their aims and objectives are all about.
Thank you. Any responses?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I guess kind of picking up on Earl's point about clear direction, I think it's also important to note one of the issues that we've certainly seen with this government in the last few years in particular is that we're seeing ministers changing out throughout departments constantly. We've had, I believe, 4 ministers of health in the last 16 months. I know in the department that I shadow, COD-NL, I think we've had something like 5 ministers in a little over a year. So when you talk about working with groups, establishing policies, setting priorities for the department, it's kind of hard to do that when you get one minister in there. By the time he gets around to bringing direction forward, he's out the door, she's out the door, and then somebody else is in there. So having stability within the departments, I think, will also help in addressing a lot of these issues for lots of groups.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else? Claude Jackman?
I've sat around a cabinet table now for 9 years, and whether I'm responsible for a department or not, I'll speak to issues on many grounds. Earl knows him and I had encounters when we were in Fishers. And I will tell you that the colleagues that I sit with, and I'll speak specifically to my role, I have worked in the last 9 to 10 months with this community to advance their cause as much as I possibly can. And I would hope that the people that I've dealt with would see that I'm genuine to that role and genuine in bringing their issues before our cabinet table. Now, we funded things. Are they all the right things? I don't know. All I know is that we as ministers, and I was at one other session where one of your colleagues said, if you get to the other side of the mountain, well, if you get to the other side of the mountain, you'll recognize that we, at a cabinet table, you're part of a team that deals with the entire issues. You put them on a table, you go through all types of processes, but at the end of the day, it's the person who sits at that table responsible for this division.
I'm going to cut you off now.
Sorry for that.
Right.